What's up again, everybody? I want to show you a team that I built recently on my phone through the Transition Zone app, and instead of making like a combo breakdown video, I thought I'd just show my face. Since I haven't been around for a while, I figure we just do this together. So let me show you the thought process behind this team that I put together recently. And this is all just for fun, and I haven't played it yet, so I don't know if it's very good, but I'll show you what my thought process went like. So the first thing that caught my eye, or really the way that this team got its start, was looking at this card. This is Durnan, Retired Adventurer. He is a 4-cost neutral, not really an adventurer. He's just a 4-cost neutral character, fist character with the 133-243-254 stat line. Not a very good stat line. But he says, while he's active, your adventurers gain an experience token when they are fielded. And that seemed really interesting to me because the idea of fielding up a bunch of adventurers and giving them all an experience token each time you field one of them is kind of super cool. So I thought to myself, how can I break that, or how can I work around that? So obviously you got to start with that guy, so you might as well throw him up there. The next thing that you would think, well, his fielding costs are terrible, and he's 4 and he's a utility character, so how can you make him cheaper and easier to field? And yes, you guessed it, this is a D&D build, and this card is insane, so we'll just go ahead and slap on the Crutch, the Yawning Portal Comfortable In, the 2-cost bolt action that makes all your stuff cheaper to purchase each time you field a character. And then dice purchased go to your bag, which is really cool because it gets your adventurers out faster. You can actually use Yawning Portal to buy a Durnan a little bit easier and then put it in the bag. Or you could line it up to where you can use Yawning Portal on the same turn as Durnan so that you don't have to pay the fielding costs. Either way, it ends up working just fine. Going forward from that point, that's where things get a little interesting. The question is, what adventurers do we want to give experience to immediately? And the very second card that I added, which is funny because I showed you Yawning Portal first. I don't know why I did that. But the second card that I added to this was this one, a card I had originally kind of skipped over just because it was a 4-cost fist character. This is Jamila. I don't know how to pronounce that. A 4-cost fist character that is an adventurer, has the experience keyword, as you can see. Not a great stat line, an 022-133-243 stat line, but it has Overcrush. And if we can add some stats to this Overcrusher, then you could technically have a cheap Overcrushing big thing, which is pretty cool. And you get stats by putting experience counters on, experience tokens onto the card, and you can do that just straight up by fielding Jamila, this card. There you go. So there's your little 3-card combo, the one that sort of I wanted to build around and make work. But this won't be great if this is the only adventurer that we're trying to go for. We kind of do need some cheaper adventurers to feed the discounting thing and the discounting purposes of Yawning Portal, and also to give us energy that we roll to purchase these things if we miss character faces. So these are 2 fist characters, by the way, should be noted. Fist. There is a fist adventurer in this set that, what did I just do? That was amazing. There's a fist adventurer in this set that is absolutely insane, and that is Istrid Horn. Istrid Horn mined for money. We'll just slap it down and then we'll show it. If my internet will, oh, there it goes. It works. Move it over. Nope. It's experience. It's got a 2-cost fist. She's evil, but she's got experience, and it says while she's active, your opponent's NPC dice cost 1 more to field, so they can't chump block as easily with sidekicks. They're gonna have to block with things that actually matter. She's an 012, an 022, and a 132, so she's already cheap. So even if you don't have the Yawning Portal alongside her, she's easy to field. She feeds the energy type that these more expensive things cost, so that you can go something like Istrid Horn, Yawning Portal opening, and then roll Yawning Portal and Istrid Horn as energy, and then play Yawning Portal and use the Istrid Horn plus a couple sidekicks to get your Jamila or your Durnan, which is probably a good bet early, for cheap, and then put it in the bag, right? Going off of that, the next thing I added was another interesting card that I looked at and then didn't really think about, was Human War. There we go, Human Warlock. This one It's a 4-cost mask. Doesn't work great with the energy types, but it's a 4-cost mask, and it's got experience and obscure. The stat line's pretty decent. 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 4, 1, 2, 5. So it's going to survive a lot of things. This would be really good with a stat flip. And obscure, if you don't know the keyword for obscure, it says whenever you play an action die, this character cannot be blocked until the end of the turn, or just cannot be blocked, yeah, when it attacks. There's an action right there called Yawning Portal that we plan on purchasing pretty early. So Human Warlock seemed like a good little fit for a nice 2-card, 2-character finisher here. Those are both pretty powerful punches. And if for some reason your opponent's doing something crazy like, I don't know, bringing a global that pushes your attackers out of the field, who would do such a thing, right? Well, at least you can run the good old-fashioned Vajra. Spell it the right way. V-A-J-R. There we go. We can run the Vajra that we put onto the other adventurer team that we already built and featured. Commander of Force Grey, that is a 3-cost bolt character that says experience, so adventurer gets the buff from Durnan, and while she's active, when you field an adventurer, deal 1 damage to target opponent, which is obviously very good because free damage is free damage. The nice synergy here is Yawning Portal and Vajra are both bolts as well. That works out really, really nicely. Filling out the rest of this team, because we have 6 cards taken, I have Professor X. There it is. Come on. I've got Professor X on here, and the reason I have Professor X on here is because it's a mask that can have a little bit of synergy with Human Warlock, which, I mean, doesn't really, but you can say it, right? And then the main reason is because it works with Yawning Portal. You play the Yawning Portal, and then you play the Global on Professor X, and it fields a sidekick, which reduces everything by 1. So you're basically paying a mask to make all of these things 1 cheaper, which is kind of cool. It's kind of like, you know, paying all of the... It's like paying 1 to purchase these things anyway, but you're getting a sidekick out of it, which you could do things with if someone brings you an energy fixer, which I actually didn't put an energy fixer on the team, and I'm totally okay with that. The final card that I have on here is Tomb Guardian, and I slapped Tomb Guardian on here because I thought to myself, wouldn't it be nice if you could KO your characters so that you could refield them the next turn? Yes, it would. It would be nice if you could KO the characters so you could refield them next turn. So, like, say, for example, you start pretty early and you're able to put this combo together where you've got Durnan and you've got some Istrid Horns, and then you buy some Jamillas. You can KO your Jamilla and your Istrid Horns, recycle them, putting them into prep, and then re-rolling them, fielding them again for more buffs. I think with a team like this, you're always attacking with these characters. Like all of these all of these adventurers, you're always pushing with, except for maybe Vajra, because you want to keep her in the field and get the pings off when you're getting Istrid and Human Warlock and Jamilla, but mainly these two to attack. So I think this is a decent option. Maybe 2 golems, but I thought about Amber Golem, and I thought, probably not. But you could probably run 2 golems on here, and that would be even better. In the future, when there's a card that lets you put dice back onto the card, you would just slap that on here. I think as far as characters are concerned, or just like 8-card team cards are concerned, this to me feels... I feel like either this one or this one are the cuttable ones, just because they both kind of do the same thing. If I had to cut one of them, I don't know. It would be worth trying both of them and seeing which one works. Maybe you can cut the Professor X because it doesn't have as much utility. But if you're cutting something you're looking to put on, what? Like a fixer? Not really. You could fix to a fist, I guess. I had something in mind, but I forgot what it was. Let's go ahead and put some basic actions on here. I think the basic actions I included were ramp base or resurrection. You could run resurrection. I originally had create food and water on here. I was messing around with this with, what was it called? Why did I just blank on the name? Bifrost. My original thought was, man, it would be so cool if I could get Durnan out and then buy a bunch of stuff for cheap with Yawning Portal and then play Bifrost and then field something and then start fielding adventurers. But the problem with that is Bifrost and Yawning Portal don't work very well together because this says dice you purchase this turn are added to your bag. And if they go to your bag, then they can't come out of the used onto the field. So I ended up axing the Bifrost, but maybe you try a Bifrost version of this instead of a Yawning Portal. Even though Yawning Portal makes Durnan and like one of these two win conditions so much cheaper and easier to get to. Nevertheless, worth looking at. The final one I did was Counter-Strike. This was sort of a remnant from the previous version that I just talked about. Let's see, is this worth it? It preps a sidekick. It sets up like a bomb turn when you're wanting your Yawning Portal. So maybe that one works. Maybe you just cut the Professor X. I don't know. What was it that I wanted to add to this? There was something that I wanted to put on here to make it a little bit more functional. Maybe like a second Tomb Guardian or a second Golem. Maybe that's what I was trying to shoot for. The other thought I had was you play like Tomb Guardian or 2 Fabricate kind of guys, and then instead of like a Counter-Strike, maybe you just cut that and run Momentum for the memes. Oh my god, type. There we go. Maybe you just run Momentum, which says roll any number of your dice from your prep area and then put them in your reserve, which would be funny because you'd KO your stuff, put it in reserve, and then field it all up, which would be really interesting. But the whole point is to just like jam big things. That would work well with like Human Warlock, I guess, because you are playing... oh, a stat flip. That's what I was thinking. A stat flip. I mean, maybe you cut this and put... oh, God. What is it? Deadpool, right? Deadpool has the stat flip on it. No. It's Bizarro. And it's a shield. Not a lot of shield things, but if you're going, I guess if you're going like the Human Warlock route, maybe you go Bizarro for the stat flip, cut that, and then play the Professor X. Where are you at, Professor? Like this version of it, because then it's a mask. Maybe you look for like an Istrid to go away at that point. Because now you have this momentum that goes nicely with Human Warlock, and you'd want like either a shield or a mask to get you to that more easily. Or maybe you run the ultimate of all fixers, and you just get that Intellect Devourer. Just jam the Intellect Devourer's global. Spin and one of your NPC dice. That's one way to take it. But that's where I'm at with this. Let me know what you think about this. The whole point with this is like the Durnan. I don't know, what would you call this? It's like the adventurer buff team. I guess they're both kind of like adventurers are just all about buffing anyway. I need some cooler name. So come up with a cool name. I'm probably gonna slap one on for the title of this video, but come up with a better one than whatever I come up with. Oh man, gotta come up with a good name. The Bartender. There you go. It's the Bartender. Nah, it's not a very good name. I'm probably gonna call it that anyway. Nah, the Durnan buff team. We'll just call it the Durnan buff team. That seems good. He's the bartender of the Yawning Portal, so it like makes sense to have them together. They kind of need to be together. Nevertheless, let me know what you think about this team and what this idea in a comment below. Hit that like, subscribe, bell button. There's lots of buttons to press. Press all of them because it's fun to press buttons. And as always, thanks for watching.